Hi, welcome back to Genesis Custom Sabers. I don't do this very often, but from time to time, somebody I know in the industry will send me something to check out. In this case, Tim from the Custom Saber Shop has sent me some parts for a saber stand that will also charge the saber. Now, it is designed to work for any pixel saber, just like this one right here. It requires a little circuit board, 3 wires. So I wired the 3 wires and the little circuit board into this saber, found a little nook for it to sit. So this saber is ready to go. So we're going to go over to the bench and I'm going to break this down and show you how this works. Now I want to point out too that we're dealing with lithium-ion batteries, which have a lot of power. Now I have never had one of these protected lithium-ion batteries go bad, start a fire, anything like that, but I have heard stories. So I have a simple rule of thumb that I tell everybody. If you're charging your saber, taking the battery out, plugging it into a charger, plugging your saber into the wall, just don't leave it unattended. All right, here's what came in the mail. A section of blade with the PCB in one end and a 2.1 millimeter charge port in this end. This is the unit that you can use. There's also, secondarily, all of this for a stand. Now it did come also with a tiny little PCB, which I will show now. And it's really easy to wire in 3 little wires, one, the green one to the data line, one to the battery negative, and then one to the negative of the blade pins where these meet. And then you can just insert this into your saber like that until it's making contact. Secure it in. And then of course you're going to need a charger, 3.7 volt charger if that's what the cell is in yours, which most of these are now. So I'm going to plug the charger into the wall. And then we'll do a little experiment here. I'm going to activate the OLED screen so you can see the battery level meter. Don't know if you can see that there. And then I'm going to plug this into the end right here. And we'll see. Yeah, I notice an incremental uptick in the battery level meter. And the light on the charger in the wall is showing red. So the saber is charging. I'm just going to play around with it a little bit here and just take this out. The battery level meter drops back to where the battery was, and the charger is showing green. It's not making contact, not charging. So we know that it is charging the saber. It does work. Pretty cool little thing. With the stand, it's pretty straightforward. You've got this, looks like a 3D printed piece there with some banana plugs, and a red and a black, which correspond to positive and negative on the charge port, and of course it's angled, so there really is only one way to insert that, so there's no risk of inserting it backwards and crossing the polarity and creating an issue that way. They also sent along this really cool little laser engraved plaque, Genesis Custom Sabers, that goes there, and it comes with some little rubber feet that you can put on the bottom of this depending on how you're going to use it. And then the saber drops right in there like that. And nothing's happening right now because I haven't plugged this into the back. Oh. So I'm checking my battery level meter. It does go up. The little LED on the wall jack is red, so this saber is charging in the stand. It's a pretty slick little setup and really simple to use. When you're ready to go, you just pull your saber off, pop a blade in, and you're off to the races. Now, as I understand it, I'm using mine, this is a Crystal Focus version 10 with the little PCB. Tim's also tried it with the Golden Harvest soundboard, and apparently there's a way that if the saber's on, like you saw with my OLED showing the battery level, the Golden Harvest evidently will say charging if the saber's on. When you plug it into the charger, you'll get a little voice prompt that says charging, which is kind of cool. So yeah, really cool to use this. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you've got a nice old weathered worn saber like this, and the saber stand is shiny and new looking, you feel like maybe they don't go together. Now, I don't know, maybe you've got like kind of a whole museum kind of thing going on, so it's an old saber on a nice pristine stand, that's fine. But if you want to maybe weather or age the saber stand to go along with the look of the saber, then stay tuned, because we'll have a little bonus coverage of how I'm going to personalize mine. Just a little bit. Okay, we're going to do a very basic 3-step weathering process for this prop. It's very shiny right now, except where it's textured. So I'm going to take the 60 grit sandpaper and I'm just going to quickly give it some scuff marks on some of the shiny bits. Not too much, just tiny little bits here. I don't want to take off too much at all. That's it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this, this is a chalked Rust-Oleum matte clear. It's very flat, and it's a clear coat. And I've already pre-shaken this a little bit. I'm going to turn on my ventilation and just dust it. What this is going to do is this is going to kind of knock down the chrome aspect, the shininess. Really don't need much at all. And it also dries very quickly. So when this dries, we'll go on to the third and final step. Okay, as you can see, the matte spray paint has given it a different look. There's less shine on the chromy parts. Of course, this will be covered by the nameplate. And what I'm going to do now is these are just cheap acrylic paints from the dollar store. I've got a black and I've got a brown. And I got a little bit of just a container here. I've mixed black and brown to get a color that I like, and then added just a little bit of water. And oh, I don't have very much of it left. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to follow the contours of this. And this stuff dries fairly quickly. So what I do when I apply it is fairly quickly I start to wipe it out like this, so that it doesn't dry in anywhere where I don't want it to. And what happens is it stays in the cracks and the grooves, and you can already see it starting to give a weathered look to this prop. And I don't need to go through all of it. I just basically kind of apply it where I want it to be most, and then it'll smear into the other areas as I'm going. I'm also going to go around this whole plate here. Now you can use water, but I've got this little acrylic thinner that I've made up. It's mostly water. It's got a little bit of alcohol in there, and just a little bit of that. That thins it out and makes it really runny. And so then when I apply it, it just runs into all the cracks and all the grooves really nicely. So that's just the top face. I'll go around and do all the sides, like in here and in here, and when I'm done, this will look way older and worn. And like I said, this stuff dries really fast, so I'm able to finish this all easily in an afternoon. As you can see, I've kind of finished all the way around. If I want to just kind of wipe and dab with a microfiber cloth, just to kind of clean up any gobs of paint that I may have missed. And when this dries, it'll be a really nice matte finish. So if yours isn't, for whatever reason, you'd used different craft paints or whatever, you can always hit it again once it's dry with that matte clear. And you can see where we scraped it. The paint's collected in those scrapes, and it looks nice and old and worn. I'll shoot some glam shots with the nameplate in there. And that's it, a quick weathering job to make this fit with your particular lightsaber. So I hope that's been a fun and informative review of this little charging saber stand, which will be available soon from the Custom Saber shop. If you like this kind of stuff, please consider subscribing to my channel so you can see all the content that I put out in regards to props and lightsaber stuff. Until next time, thanks again for watching.